Before the jury comes in, I want to address the gallery. The parties have agreed to the admission of Exhibit 428. It is an audio recording. That audio recording will be played for the jury this afternoon. It does contain some very sensitive, sexually explicit matters. It is important that those of you in the gallery have no reaction whatsoever to anything that is played for this jury. If you believe that the materials on this particular audio recording are such that you would prefer not to be present, I'm going to ask that you leave the courtroom now. The prosecutor has advised me that he has met with the family of the victim, that the family of the victim has had an opportunity to listen to the audio recording. It is their desire that the audio recording be played in open court, and they wish to be present. If any member of the family of the victim has a different position, please raise your hand now and let me know. I see no hands. Ms. Arias, please come forward and take the stand. Please bring in the jury. Please be seated. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. Ms. Arias, you are still under oath. Do you understand?
Yes.
Mr. Nurmi, you may continue with your examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. In conjunction with that, before we begin questioning Ms. Arias, in pursuant to the stipulations previously made, we are asking to publish what's been marked as, what's been entered, excuse me, as Exhibit 428.
You may do so.
Okay, what did you say? I'm sorry.
So why don't we just talk for a little bit about happy things and get normalized for a moment, and we'll see where it takes us.
We'll see where it takes us. I like that. I like to get taught. I get happy and get normalized part.
Kick the shoes off, put on, get happy. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be June through the beginning of June through like the beginning of July. It's going to get busy time in Mr. Alexander's life.
Yeah, me too.
and then the end of July too.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, for me, I might make a trip at the end of the month to Utah. But I don't know, I'm in Daniel Summit, so it's like, I don't know if I'll do that. I'd want
Why
to,
did you go to Utah?
just to visit and see the sights and see my friends and all that.
Why would you go and if you're going to Daniel Summit?
Well, that's what I'm saying, like, it's just right around the corner, so I may not. I just Daniel Summit. But, I don't know, we'll see, like,
Daniel who?
Summit, you know him well. You've met him more times than I have. You're funny. So, but yeah, June, you're going to what, Cancun, and you're coming here. But, let's see. What are you doing?
Washington, D.C.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. Well, if I can afford it, I'd like to go to Washington, D.C., but I think that's out. What I'd like to do, though, is I'm going to travel around with you, and if I have the money, I'm going to go to the Team Freedom event, which is in June. And I've got places to stay in Palm Desert. That's easy. No money there.
Here's the problem I have with the Team Freedom event. It's in Palm Springs, right?
Okay, in the summer. They're really dumb for there in the summer.
Yeah, which is like a horrible place in the summer.
Yeah.
Number two, their idea of social time is to get drunk. Their fun is to get drunk.
Not everybody.
The training would be awesome. I don't like those people. I respect them as business people, but that is about it.
Really?
They just don't have a soul.
Are you serious?
They're godless. Just like look into their eyes. It's like dark.
What about people like Tara and Mark Smith?
Okay, Tara's nice, and maybe there's something there, but like I said, I respect them for what they've done in their businesses. I like them as business associates. They don't have a soul.
You're crazy.
Look at them all. Tell me how fun.
Aw, I guess I've just gotten to know a few different people a little bit differently, that's all.
Like, the people you got to know are the worst ones.
Aw, Tara Postenbach. I know you don't like... Okay, I know you don't like Abe.
Yeah, well, he's soulless. He's like at the top of the list.
I wouldn't call him soulless. I would just call him, like, focused. Like, business person.
He's not focused on business.
Well, I don't know.
If he's focused on business, he'd be a solid ED for starters.
He told me the other day that he hopes you get your ring.
He told you the other day?
Yeah.
How the hell did that come up?
Because I went to leave him a comment on his MySpace because I hadn't talked to him in like 4 months. And he left me one out of the blue after not talking to me for 4 months, saying it said who, what, where, or something. And I was going to say the same thing back, just to throw it out there, kind of thing. And I went to add comment. It says you must be this user's friend in order to make comments about them. I was like, what? He's always been my MySpace friend. So I texted him. I said, hey. I said, I've got a bone to pick with you. And he wrote back, what? And I said, you're not my MySpace friend anymore. And then the phone rang. It was him. He's like, hey, listen, this is why. He's like, I deleted you from my friends because I just didn't want to be any part of your drama with you and Travis. And I was like, okay. He's like, it's nothing against you. I think you guys are both great people. I just didn't want to be associated with that. And he's like, I hope you can understand. So it has nothing to do with you. I think you're a great girl. I think Travis is an awesome businessman. In fact, I really hope he gets his ring. I think that'd be awesome because that's just more stories that I can tell. And he just said it in passing. He's like, but I hope you understand. I was like, well, okay. And then he said, what? What?
That's dramatic right there.
I know, I thought it was too. He's like, I mean, he did bring that up though. He's like, I don't understand, I see him in the bathroom and I'm a ghost to him. Like he looks right through me or he doesn't even see me or say hi to me. And he said, and I have no problem with that. If it's got to be that way, then fine. He's like, I have nothing against him. And that's when he said, in fact, I hope he gets his ring. That's what he said.
It means I intimidated him in the bathroom.
He said nothing but nice things about you, but that he didn't want to be a part of my dramas. I was like, okay.
He's a ghost to me because what am I supposed to say? Hey, you kissed my girlfriend? Well, let's talk about that.
Sweetheart, that was before I was your girlfriend. You're so cute.
Nah. You know, what am I supposed to say? You know what I mean? What am I supposed to say? Hey, I just got ripped a new one because some drunk chick freaking fell on me, and now you're drunk and you're freaking trying to hook up with my girlfriend 5 minutes later. You know?
When was that?
Oklahoma. Remember, I was going to go beat him down?
Oh, he said something not so nice. It was a compliment. It was meant to be a compliment to me, but it was an insult to you, and I should have stuck up for you. I was timid, and I still am like that. I need to work on that.
Yeah, I was really upset with you. You gave much crap over Clancy, and then you didn't stand up for me when you were getting picked up.
Nobody was hanging all over me.
No. Not true. Not true. We don't need to go there. Not even go there. But.
Let's not go there then. We already said the other night we're never going to go here again, so let's let it go. Okay, back to the team freedom thing. Yes.
I'm just glad I intimidated the bathroom.
You're funny.
I thought I was too, because I was right next to him. And I put out like the I'll whip your A vibe if you say one word to me.
I think you grabbed my ass like right in front of him when we were walking through the casino last Vegas of 07. We walked by, and you grabbed my butt and you're like, there was Abe. And I was like, what? Like, I love it when you grab my butt because it feels nice. But you only do it like when you're trying to prove a point to somebody else.
That's not true, but I always do it when I'm trying to prove myself.
That's true.
You cannot say I don't work that booty.
Oh, never mind. You do know how to work the booty.
Your butt has gotten more attention than any woman on the face of the earth, something like that.
Well, it kind of screams for attention. It sticks out.
I love that. If they had After the Planet Award, it would win.
Aw, I don't know about that, but thank you.
No, it would, and so many categories, it freaking just gets an A+.
You're an A+.
For example, I'm not the freaking tossed salad type, to be honest, but I would do it. I love doing it to you.
And you have done it. Ooh.
I've more than done it. I've freaking done it.
You have chomp. You've gone to town like it was an all-you-can-eat salad bar.
Yeah, I went to town on it for like 45 minutes one night.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of fun.
That's another thing about you. You have the most incredible stamina that I've ever even dreamed of encountering. It's just crazy. Like you have.
Yeah, we've had 2 and 3 hour sessions anytime.
Yeah. More than that.
Well, it's I think 3.5 like our tops or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, nonstop.
It's because I pace myself.
Yeah, and I think for me it's because I have that constant renewable energy.
Yeah. You've got renewable, you can just never stop. I am extracurricular, and I'm a giver, so I don't mind recouping while I'm doing what I need to do to you, so.
I'm a giver.
No, I agree, honey.
But I don't mind receiving while you're doing the giving.
No, I'm glad. And I like how you'll play whatever role you need to play. You know,
I like the play. That's fun.
If you need to, handle me, you'll handle me. If you need to be handled, you'll be handled.
Oh, I know. And I know you love being handled, but, like, if I had to put the one before the other, I like being handled. I like being handled. But, yeah, I totally will handle you.
Yeah, you're delish. Mercy. We got into this quicker than I thought we would.
Yeah, I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, that's just how it works. I really am excited by a little forest
Adventure.
event. Yeah. I just want,
Is yours coming up here before Cancun?
yeah, that's my plan. Yeah.
What is your itinerary? Are you gonna do San Francisco, or is that gonna be another time?
Well, I think I'm gonna do all that stuff.
Then you'll see me, and we'll go Oregon Coast and Crater Lake, Shakespeare. If that goes as planned, and then I guess you'll go up to see your friends in Washington or something?
I'm not gonna do all that.
So as far
You're the top of the list.
in more ways than one. No, just kidding. That was funny.
No, I laughed.
Okay, so then you'll drive back.
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, you're the top of the list. I think that's just too much. Like all that. What I'll do is I'll fly into Seattle and stay with my friends, and go to British Columbia on that same trip.
Okay. Are you going to be traveling abroad anytime soon? I mean, other than Mexico, of course.
Well, DC.
That's not abroad. I mean, international.
Oh, no. I might go to Argentina in September. I'll probably go to Argentina in September, like late September.
Oh, cool. What brings you to Argentina?
Just D-Vents and a bunch of guys are going down there to live, and I might go down there for like a month.
Who's going down to live?
D-Vents and Danny Jones and a few other guys.
Oh, they're going to go down there and live? That's crazy. Danny Jones moved to Virginia.
Good. He's just a waste of potential, that guy. So
He's
being cool.
massive potential, and he just squanders it.
He's a freaking wop. Like his picture on Facebook, like, are you the dumbest ass on the face of the earth?
I haven't seen it recently. What is it?
It's him grabbing his crotch.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's like, are you 16 years old?
Seriously.
Like, it makes you wonder, like, are you a church member? I mean, I'm all for the wild streak, but don't broadcast it to the whole world.
Yeah, I almost put a freaking interesting comment on that picture.
Like what?
I almost put, your mission president would be proud.
You should! Why don't you?
Maybe I should.
He hasn't been back for even a year, or barely a year, I think he's been back. You should, Travis. Don't be intimidated by him. You would do that to anybody else. Why would you stop with him?
Why would you say I'm intimidated by Danny Jones?
I wouldn't. I didn't mean to imply that. I'm just saying, like when Victor Ruiz, when his friend apparently got a hold of his Helio and posted a bunch of stupid bullshit, you blasted him to Mars. And he's not even a church member to be held accountable.
Well, it's because he sent me an email, and I took that as personal insult.
Oh, I thought he just sent posted a bulletin or something.
Maybe he did. I blasted Mario for sending me maybe I'm getting those stories mixed up. Mario sent like some joke with the F word in it.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
And I ripped him to shreds, and I ripped Victor to shreds.
Yeah, so you can put a little mark on there. Don't do it if you don't want to. I'm not trying to pressure you, but
I would prefer to probably do it by emailing him rather than posting a comment because, you know, I don't want to, like, humiliate him.
I know, but, yeah.
But then on the other hand, he's already humiliated himself. I haven't.
True. He's begging for comments, basically. You put that picture up for attention. He's asking for comments. And, I think you should oblige. But yeah, if you want to do it privately, you did it privately with Mario and Victor, so. But nonetheless, you gotta let me keep posted on that. That's funny. Your mission president would be proud. That is funny. Hey, did you look at my profile?
That's kind of a rude thing to say, but what?
Did you look at my profile picture?
Oh, I totally forgot. I was over the go.
Oh, it's okay. You don't have to know. It's kind of an average picture, but I'm kind of hungry for pictures.
You got great pictures. I don't know why you would say that. You're like very photogenic.
Well, I don't know. I'm not photogenic. I just choose them carefully.
Nah, you're pretty.
Thank you.
You're just so attractive.
I'm getting used to myself, I guess, in front of the camera.
You are. No, seriously, hon? Like, I've never seen you look good in my life.
Yes, you have. When I have puffy eyes and have cried off all my makeup.
You don't look bad then either. You just look miserable. But you look hot, so.
That is funny that you say that. Thank you.
It's true. Think about it. Like, how I've, like, think about this. There's been many times when you've been, like, miserable and I've, like, raped you.
That's true. We've had lots of makeup time.
Yeah.
That is true. But it's a good way for us to de-stress.
Yeah, it's true. We've done that in the middle of like when we were just pissed at each other.
Yeah, we have, haven't we?
Well, like it was like I thought our only way out, you know.
Yeah, there was one time I remember. I think I kind of vaguely remember. I mean, I don't keep track of it. There's been so many, but I mean, there was a time when we were just like, I don't even know who initiated. I think you did.
I did.
Yeah. Other times we've been like so discouraged with each other that I didn't think it like freaking we could have been injected with aphrodisiacs. It wouldn't work.
Well, it kind of puts things in perspective a little more because your mind gets off it for a while, and when you do come back to the problem, like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But certainly the best times are when we just go for a freaking ROM session. Just like go wherever.
You're not joking. I mean, like there are times when we just I'm trying to think of an example. There have been a few times where I've been bold enough to just pull you onto the bed and start. And oh my gosh, you remember that time I came to visit you when I was still living in California, and I fell asleep on your chair next to your bed, and you just like woke me up by pulling my pants off and totally licking my pussy.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed because I just like got my Brazilian on and I was like worried about what it looked like, and I was like, and the lights were bright and they were on. I was all self-conscious. But I remember that was hot. I was totally tired and I was asleep. And I would have been completely content just cuddling with you once we got into bed, but you had another agenda.
You gotta admit though, like there's not many guys that would do that just for fun. Like with that.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't know what the ratio is, but I get the impression that they're. I mean, it's kind of an awkward subject to bring up, but eventually we're both going to remarry people, and I just get the feeling that there aren't a lot of Mormon guys like that, and there may or may not. I'm sure there are plenty of freaky Mormon girls, but are they the marrying type? I shouldn't say that. I'm just saying, are they the type that you'd want to marry, or are the guys out there the type that I'd want to marry? And I don't know. Like, I really would like to marry a return missionary, but like you, someone who can be freaky. Like, I just worry about that. There are plenty of nice people out there, but like, I worry that I might feel like a wilting flower is all, who never really blossomed to her full potential, at least in the sexual realm. I feel like I have with you, but like I still have plenty of blossom time left, and I want to live all those years being that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I'm gonna enjoy your blossoms when they come up there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tie you to a tree and put it in your ass, by the way.
What's that?
I'm gonna tie you to a tree and put it in your ass, by the way.
Oh my gosh. That is so debasing. I like it.
True. I'm going to zip tie your arms around the tree, blindfold you, and put the camera on a timer while I'm parking you.
Oh my gosh. You are full of ideas.
It takes creativity to top ourselves.
I know it does. We've gotten way creative in the past. I think you give you most of the credit, though, as far as the creativity ideas go. I'm game for, like, almost everything you come up with. But you really are a wellspring of ideas. You are, like, quite the source.
I mean, just think of how I pounded you with a full Tootsie Roll Pop until it was nothing.
I know.
And your ass and pussy were tasty.
Yes, you did. You put it all over me and then licked it off.
I did. It was fun. And then, we had fun. Pop Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the Pop Rock as much as I liked the Tootsie Roll Pop, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they were interesting. You know,
We were both messy, but Pop Rock got all over the place.
You know what I really liked is when we were in the bath with the candles and I had the braid.
Mm-hmm.
With her bubbles. That was on top of.
Oh, I love the braids.
I know, those are hot. I know, I like it. I don't know, there's just, it is fun. I want you to do that more.
I want you to do it more.
All right, we'll both.
Like you ride my freaking face. Get a horse.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
you get some 69 picks too.
69 picks?
Yeah.
How will we do that?
Set timer.
Oh, yeah. You're smart.
And I'm gonna get some great shots of freaking put that in you. Like the actual putting it in you and like your reaction and just the angles and the whole bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are right though, that in the bath. Oh, that was hot.
Oh, when we took a bath together?
Uh-huh.
That was surreal. Like, honestly, and I think, I mean, maybe the candlelight and the bubbles all had something to do with it, but you were amazing. You made me feel like a goddess. Like, I wasn't saying you were, like, worshiping me, but you were you made me feel like I was the most freaking beautiful woman on the whole planet. Like, I so felt like I was the goddess. And so, aside from all those warm, fuzzy feelings, but like, it was so sexy, and it was so hot, and oh, gosh.
Well, that wasn't hard to make you feel that way because you were freaking, you were hot. You are. Seriously, honey, I don't want to force you right now for that. Because I'm touching your stuff.
I am already.
I just started.
I wish those were my hands giving you a hand job.
Honey, so, you know, like, before I met you, I never checked up. But once I started meeting, I don't know, once a month, once every 2 weeks. Like, since you've left, I check up every day, sometimes 2-3 times a day.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, it's always just fucking you.
Oh, you're calling me right now. I wish you were here. If you were here, my grandparents are asleep, I'd let you right into my bedroom, we'd shut and lock the door, and we would just have a big fuck fest. We'd go at it all night.
Well, let's do it, baby. I'm gonna be there, you know.
I want you to come.
Oh, don't worry. I want you to come around like I come when she comes.
I meant come here. Like squeaking. I must get out.
Yeah, well, I was a cool baby. I can't wait to get pictures of jizzle on your face.
That's gonna be cool, actually.
Try to get one as I'm coming on your face, and then
Yeah, definitely.
like mid-shot.
Uh-huh. You make me so horny. I seriously think about having sex with you every day. Several times a day. I think about how it feels to have your cock deep inside of me. I remember it. And I want it again.
Is it wrong that I'm glad we started fucking?
What?
Is it wrong that I'm glad that we started fucking?
Well, if it's wrong, then I don't want to be right. I guess I'm glad too. Like, seriously.
Internally, I'm like, okay, it's Jodi. I'm just Jodi. I'm all Jodi.
Like, I don't know. What's wrong is that I wish we were doing it before, because that was good, and it's
once we did it, why not do it? Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I want to give you a cream pie too.
What's that? What's a cream pie?
Like what do I want, right? Just like a quarter-inch inside your pussy.
Oh, yeah.
Just shoot that like. Get a picture of that.
Uh-huh.
You get a lot of cum shots with you.
Yes, definitely.
A lot of Kodak moments.
Yes.
I mean, you can have some great pictures. Honey, like, because you look like a porn star, it's got that, like, every part of you just, like, it's that exotic, like, brown, bubbly. Oh, I had a great thought about you. It just, well, I'm just jerking off this morning, so I'm going to say.
You jerked off this morning?
Oh yeah, I freaking found you something ferocious in myself this morning. But like, and then you're gonna have all these great pictures of a quality camera and like a setting that's, you know, perfect. I mean, it's gonna be like legitimate porn.
Yeah.
In every sense, you know what I mean? And you're gonna have that yourself, like,
I'm gonna come soon, honey.
let me tell you what I was thinking about today.
Alright, but if I come, don't come yet, okay? Because then I'll come 2 times, you can come a second time.
Okay. Like everything about, like, the details of your body are so hot. Like those big freaking nipples. They're just like, it just accentuates how female you are and how hot you are. Like you're this prototype of sweatiness. Like you're this prototype made to freaking fuck. And then, most of all, oh, I love it, is how much detail your pussy has. Big.
Really? I like those things because I've always been self-conscious about those things, and you make me feel like...
It makes you like a super woman. It's just like, it's all, like, they're feminine because they have boobs and they have a clit and stuff. You're ultra feminine because you have freaking clits. So
Right now.
what else is hot? Naturally, so like the way you know, baby, it sounds like you're this 12-year-old girl having her first orgasm. It's so hot.
It sounds like what?
12-year-old girl having her first orgasm. Like, or be this hot little girl.
You're bad. You make me feel so dirty.
You are dirty, baby. I think of yourself some more because I keep coming in and out. That's what I need, baby. I just want to have a fucking mess with you. I like that term. It's a marathon. Put my dick in every orifice of your body. Just out of my way with you. Just being dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty. Sheep down. Oh, gosh. Seriously, though? Like, you don't know how hot that is. That's so hot. Yeah.
How hot what is?
Your pussy.
I like it when you step on them. And you just like, you step on them like they're candy, like they're lollipops. You just lick them.
I think you taste, like, seriously, there's, like, people that, yeah, obviously don't taste good. There's people that they taste fine. I've never had anyone that actually enjoyed the taste of them. But you, I enjoy, like, I like the flavor.
That's awesome.
And, you know, there's not I just love how naturally hairless you are. Just like no hair to be found. I mean, yeah, I know you wax, but even still, like, there's just so smooth ass. I love how it's probably your asshole.
I like being smooth. You're smooth too. You're smooth all over in places like I didn't know you could get smooth.
Oh, baby. I told you, the hard work there.
You do a good job.
Sure. You need a dick in your ass.
And you're good.
You still figuring yourself.
Yeah. I like the way your dick gets. Like, it's one thing that you're all smooth everywhere, but yeah, of course your dick is way smooth. Heather, your dick is smooth. It's like putting my lips all over it. Makes me lips now. I really, really, really want to suck your dick right
How funny if it should be teabagging me and like head going down your head and crush your forehead.
I think since we're going to do the porn star thing, I'm going to put on a little extra makeup. More than I normally do.
Whatever you want, maybe. You can break some. You know what I want to do?
What?
Is I want to get like some like park ranger type outfit for me to wear.
Really? Oh my gosh, that's clever.
And like somewhere along the sequence, like, well, I'll fuck you with, and you'll have the park ranger hat on.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that would be hot. Like you bust me for being like nude in public or something, and I say I wanted to go out and be like one with nature, and you're like, all right, you can redeem yourself in a one way.
Exactly. You know, like I'm gonna put it to like a storyline, like type up the story and everything.
Oh, we are creative. It's seriously, they write novels about this stuff and it sells. But it's for like those lonely women. But you and I can become millionaires. Writing about that stuff.
You can take care of yourself, baby.
Yeah, sorry, I stopped for a second. I'm laughing.
Yeah, don't stop. Like, I could have came when you do the first time.
That's right. I asked you not to if I could get in the... Hang on, I thought I heard somebody. Let me just double check. Oh, I think it was just my perjure. Oh. All right, we're good. The coast is clear. Let me get back into the groove of things.
Honey, the pictures I'm going to take are so hot. The angles.
Like, what are we going to do with ourselves? We are just horny toads.
Like, one, let me tell you some of the pictures I take. Some of these will have to be on timers, but like one of them's going to be me laying on my back, cock hard, you know, sticking straight out. And you just sitting on my face, like two chips, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll just have you moaning and you sitting on my face, and then we'll get a couple of angles of like from my point of view when you're sitting on my face.
Mhm.
And we'll get a couple of angles from your point of view, and then
Yeah.
and then we'll get to make. Huh?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, bring it in.
I was saying, I'm kind of envisioning one, like when you're titty fucking me, but like I'm looking with my head tilted back, so all you can really see is like the outline of my chin and some of my cheek and jawbone, and like my ears and hair, but you can't really see the rest of my face. You could just see a dick between two tits, like in focus with the neck and everything sort of a little bit blurry, but they're like kind of artistic, you know what I'm saying?
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know if we could do that, because your legs may take up the spot where the cameras would be, but I think we could get something like that. Or vice versa. Ooh, I've got more ideas. Okay, go ahead.
Well, we'll work it out. Worst case scenario, we could do it from like the reverse angle or
Mm-hmm.
kind of like looking the other way.
Mm-hmm. Or we could still blur my face and put your cock in focus.
Yeah.
And you have a good-looking dick, baby. I just want to let you know.
You like my dick?
Yeah. It's like, it just, so smooth. And it goes so, every time you fuck me, so good. So you went just where I needed it. You just went where I just needed it bad. You fucked me so right. Seriously.
We'll take some video too.
Yeah.
Maybe I want you to come because I'm going to want for that.
Getting really close.
Maybe I have to drown you and stuff. There's so many things I want to do that involve jizzing on you that we're going to have to do many sessions.
Come, baby.
Oh, yeah, it's huge. I just did like 15 pumps that were like shooting.
That's amazing. That is freaking amazing. You are like a superhuman, I hope you know.
That was big by even my standards.
What's that?
That was a large one even by my standards, which is surprising because, you know, I drank it this morning.
You are superhuman.
Well, just like, you know, your anatomy's situated, you know, what does that for a man is obviously his pecker and then how much jizz he produces. And, seriously, I could, if I was in a sperm bank, I could retire off this load. Man, I got a mess on my hands.
Wow. Go clean up. I'm gonna wait.
Okay, what's that?
I didn't have a sexy hey there. It's ridiculous. Even have a sexy yawn.
Dude, my legs sweat when I'm in that state. That's fun.
That's hot because then when you sweat like that and I'm on top of you, I slip slide all over. Let's get our sweat on. You I don't break a sweat often. Like I've been running since I've been here, and not real consistently, but like twice a week. just to get my heart rate, strong. And I don't even break a sweat, and I run a little bit further every time to a point where it hurts. Like I'm breathing hard, and like my tongue hurts. I have to spit because I can't even swallow. It just hurts. Like I push myself, but I don't break a sweat. I mean, I do. But with you, when you and I do stuff, like sometimes I get so sweaty, like my back is just drenched, and my whole body is drenched, and my hair. And I really exert myself.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, that's a calorie burner, about a doubt it.
What's that?
Oh, I said that's a calorie burner, about a doubt it.
No kidding.
I can just say something. Oh, you introduced me to KY, did you know that?
I introduced you to KY?
I've heard of it obviously, but I've never used it.
I had never used it and I'd always heard of it until one day I just thought, because it's so cliched and people make fun of it and, but it's great stuff.
No, it's awesome. There's nothing else.
Did you use that now?
No. I use freaking Vaseline.
Oh, does Vaseline work? It seems so thick.
Well, no, it works. You just gotta...
Oh, you mean the lotion?
Yeah, no, it's the jelly.
Oh.
It works well, but it doesn't work as well as KY.
Yeah. And KY is different for that, so it's like good for you. I don't mean like it's beneficial, but it's better. It's the best thing for you because it's designed specifically for that purpose. It's best for your skin. It's okay to go on the inside and that kind of thing.
Yeah, see, the other stuff is really nothing's really okay on the inside.
Like I used baby oil in the past, but it doesn't hurt, but it's not the best thing because it's mineral oil, And it goes away quickly. The body absorbs it. KY just keeps running on as you need it, and you keep slip-sliding around. Remember the first time that you and I grinded at Ehrenberg, and we both, I ended up just coming, and you're like, whoa, I came. You came at the same time. I looked around, and there was just jizz, all over. It was so hot. We came together. That was so cool.
Oh, Ehrenberg.
Yeah. Think about that when you drive through there.
Oh, yeah. Always.
So do I.
This last time, though, I didn't even notice it. I must have been... It's not like I just didn't notice it. All of a sudden, I was blind.
Yeah, I know. I've done that once or twice, too, where it's like, oh, I missed the Flying J. It's kind of the signature landmark.
Yeah. No, it was, it was a good time. We just chilled in the freaking hellhole of a place.
It wasn't even that bad because we had each other's company.
Yeah, it's fun, actually,
Yeah, it was.
We were bored, but we were at each other,
We watched Deal or No Deal for a little bit, and we burned CDs, and you told me some cool things about the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, we watched some stupid movie.
What movie did we watch? I don't remember.
Man of the Year.
Oh, I liked that. You hated it.
Oh, so dumb.
I liked it so much. I didn't like the whole drug thing, but she was drugged outside of her will. But she played a freaking good crack addict after that. But the reason I liked that so much, I think, is because Robin Williams was in it. He's a favorite of mine. Plus, what else was playing? Nothing good was on.
Nothing good.
Have you seen Iron Man?
Yeah.
How is it?
As far as the superhero movies go, yeah.
What's that?
As far as superhero movies go, it was good.
Huh.
I'm not a huge fan of superhero movies, honestly.
Yeah, I love X-Men.
Yeah, oh, wow.
Did we say that at the same time?
Yeah.
That's trippy. Those are great movies, though.
Yeah, they're the best. I'm actually not a big fan of Spider-Man.
I like the storyline, but I don't like sitting through all the movie. Remember you made fun of me when I was crying when his best friend died? I was sad that you made fun of me because I got into the actual story. I was like, he's so insensitive.
Like Spider-Man, though.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't see it as bad. I saw it as a love story and a story between. Like what really jerked me was the way they had become friends. They were best friends that were enemies. That finally they understood why they hated each other, and so there was no reason for it anymore. But then he died, so I didn't get to enjoy the fruit of that discovery, which would have been the mending of their friendship. Anyway. Okay, go on.
And then, I don't like the Spider-Man, but I don't like the Supermans. I don't like the Fantastic Fours, except for looking at Jessica Alba.
Cool.
But you like the X-Men. X-Men are good, right? So we'll give it that. Batman's okay. And X-Men's my favorite.
I like freaking Batman. My favorite one is Batman Forever. Wait, Batman Returns? Yeah, Batman Returns, which has the Riddler, played by none other than Jim Carrey, and Two-Face by Tommy Lee Jones. And it's got big names. It's got Nicole Kidman.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who sprays the big black bat?
Drew Barrymore. And who else?
Is she in that?
She's in Two-Face. She's in Batman Returns. There's Drew Barrymore, Jim Carrey, Val Kilmer, Nicole Kidman, Tommy Lee Jones. Those are 5 huge names, and there may be others.
That was Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer played Bruce Wayne. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, first it was Michael Keaton, then it was Val Kilmer.
Uh-huh.
Then it was George Clooney.
He played Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
In which one?
You want to know? He was Batman.
Dude, I gotta watch that. That's cool that we
Christian Bale. I'll tell you what would be a good one. The Green Hornet.
The Green Hornet?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Not a superhero at all. A man that's like, it's a trip. A Green Hornet. It's long, strange trip. Living on vitamin C and cocaine. All friends can say they're change. You know where I really want to go?
I like it when you sing.
Vermont. Vermont's awesome.
Who?
Vermont. I want to go visit Vermont.
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful state. So
I think I'm going to go New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine trail for it.
Well, what are you going to do when you go to D.C.? Other than D.C. stuff.
DC.
Yeah. If I can go, I'm going to go.
Let's go game. All of them are playing in the shade. Yeah, I think that.
Is it the Rolling on a River song that you're singing?
No, it's trucking. Got my chicken, keep trucking. Like to do it all in together.
Is it the chorus?
Down it. Next to me, on you. Yeah, that's all.
No. But I love the way you sing it.
Everyone's heard trucking.
You are so cute right now.
No, seriously, everyone's here to track it.
Not Jodi.
It's great.
He songs you sing to me, and I'm like, I've never heard it. And you're like, what?
The Grateful Dead is one of the most famous and amazing bands of all time, yeah.
It's true, and I've never really listened to them, I guess.
I don't look like the music, but I love trucking.
Did I tell you I sang the song Hurt in karaoke?
I don't know, maybe.
Do you know that song?
I don't know, maybe.
9 Inch Nails originally made the song, and then Johnny Cash.
Oh, yeah, I heard most else to do. Yeah, you did tell me that.
But I put my...
That's Johnny Cash version.
Yeah. It's the soft version. I put my girly voice into it, and it was really good.
It's funny.
I'm nervous about singing the national anthem.
Oh, say,
Can you see?
can you look at blue by the morning and find blue? But so often we say blue at the twilight so and the rockets in the air, the bombs bursting with the glare, blue that I gave proof in the night with a flag made of real hair. Ooh. Oh, because that English banner
No, you didn't.
for the land of the brave and all of the brave too.
Shut up. If anyone knows the defiled version of that song, it would be you. That's hilarious. I can't believe you're singing that.
That's right.
Never again, my friend. That's an important song. I'm so digging the song that's on my profile on MySpace right now. It's called Clumsy by Fergie. It's the...
Oh, I know.
Huh?
I've heard it on your profile.
I know, and I know it's like one of those songs that you just would get sick of hearing, but it's just got this fun, funky beat. And I like the part when she goes, and it's so freaking cheese. It is cheese puff as they get, but it's just cute. And she goes, you know, this ain't the first time where I've been like something about this love sick thing. And she goes, I'm the kind of girl that likes to be in a serious relationship, and every time my boyfriend breaks up with me, my world is crushed and I'm all alone. I like it when that part is, like I was hearing that, I was like, this is freaking cheesy. But then she goes, the love bug jumps right up and bites me, and I'm back. Freaking cute. Can't help it, the girl can't help it. I like when she goes, the love bug jumps right back up and bites me, and I'm back.
She's got weird music.
She's what?
She got weird music.
Yeah, she does. She's funky.
Like that.
She's original, which is good. We always like funky, fresh originality. I always think
I like it better with Black Eyed Peas, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know a lot of her music too much. As a single artist. In fact, I don't know Black Eyed Peas music too much. I just know that I like her.
Running, running, and running, running, and running, 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 running.
Let's get started. That's them. That's
Yeah.
creepy. Let's get it started. Oh, let's get it started in here.
She's the one off the Richter, off the Richter, off the Richter, off the Richter.
That's cool. I didn't like the hump song.
No, I hate that song. I
I thought it was hilarious the way Alanis Morissette made fun of her.
My house.
My home, my lovely lady love.
What I don't realize is like, Alanis Morissette, like, okay, obviously she's making fun of that song. Is she making fun of herself, too, by the weird way she sings everything? Or is she being serious on that part?
The weird way she sings things is kind of like her signature. Just like she
I know, but
her own weird way of seeing things. When I first heard
I know, but it's just like, sometimes it's like too much.
yeah, it's a little bit like exaggerated. And she kind of has that long face and those big, like almost Steven Tyler kind of lips.
Yeah.
And so it exaggerates it. Like, have you ever watched her sing the song, You've already won me over.
Oh, head over feet. Finally, so don't be alone. I fall. Head over feet.
And
Don't be surprised that I love you for all that you are.
I thought that you're just all you are.
You are.
And for that video, it's of her singing into the camera, and she kind of has her own, like, her lips move in a way, and her mouth and her tongue. It's like all her own.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she just does that.
You are the best, unconventional thing.
You
have
your
your breath and the door for me.
Thanks for your patience. She does her own harmonica. Trippy.
Yeah. It's an interesting song.
You know what's funny is on the radio they played a song once. The radio host was like, you know, X amount of dollars to whoever can, you know, 10th caller, whoever can guess who this is, kind of thing. And it was somebody singing happy birthday to you. It was like a ballad, and the end was like, happy birthday to you, or something. And it was freaking Alanis Morissette, like some early recording of her singing for her friend. And once you realize it was her, it's like, oh yeah, that's totally her voice. And she kind of had that, her own style. It was funny.
Was it good? Or?
It was good. It was good. It wasn't studio, but you could tell it was her voice after.
She was a hit in Canada before she ever made it down here.
Oh, really? Just
Wow.
like Shakira was huge in Colombia before and in most of the Hispanic world before she made it in the U.S.
You know that she dated Dave Gouillet?
Who is that?
He's Joey on Full House.
Show.
It's Joey. It's, you know, the goofy one. Holy cool.
Oh, the white boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all white.
Shakira dated him?
No, well, that's more sad.
Oh. I didn't know that. When?
Before the You Ought to Know song, because the You Ought to Know song is about him.
Shut up. How do you forget that?
Oh, I did my homework.
Angela and I were just singing that the other day. And every time I scratch my nail down someone else's back, I hope you feel it. Well, can you feel it? You know that song?
Yeah, that song was a super hit.
Yeah, it came out as a big hit right at about the time I moved to Wairika. I remember watching it on MTV. But I'm here to remind. Oh, I fast forward the part because it says, "Are you thinking of me when you ask for a right?" And I was like, I fast forwarded that part so Angela wouldn't hear, but she heard the part where it's, and she didn't know the difference because she doesn't know that song too well. It's not one of her, high school hits, for example, but she heard the part when she's like, would she go down on you in a theater? I looked at Angela when she said that, and she starts laughing. She's like, what? What's cute about Angela is she's freaking messed up. She doesn't even know, like, right from wrong lately, but she's still so innocent. I think she's just stupid. I love the girl. She's my sister. But I honestly think she's a little bit dumb. But I love her.
Oh, bless your heart. I love her.
I speak better in that deep, sleepy, sexy voice. It makes me want to cuddle with you.
Sorry, I was getting tired.
I can tell, because then you start to slur your words. And you kind of quiet, and there's long pauses. Like that one. You're cute, hon.
I'm cute.
Yes, you are cute. Huh?
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 What?
I'll let you go.
There's all. Yeah, I'm sleepy.
He's a sleepy boy.
You go to sleep, okay?
I will in a little bit. Let's try to astral project and see if we can find each other in the astral world. While we're sleeping and our astral bodies are out running around, let's see if we can find each other.
Okay.
Okay. Have a good night. Sweet dreams.
Oh, you have a good night, too.
Okay, honey.
Oh.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, good night.
Good night.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a recess at this time. Please be back in the designated area at 10 minutes till 3, and we'll start promptly at that time. Please remember the admonition. You are excused.
Okay, what did you say?
Jury has left the courtroom. You may be seated. Ms. Arias, you may take your seat. Please be seated. Ms. Arias, please take the stand. Bring in the jury.
Please stand for the jury.
Please be seated. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. Mr. Nurmi, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Jodi, the conversation we just heard before the break, when did that take place?
May 10th, 2008.
Where were you when that conversation took place?
I was at my grandparents' home in Wairika, California.
Were you living there at the time?
Yes.
When did you move back?
Somewhere in the first half of April, 2008.
Okay. What motivated, to your understanding, how did you wind up having this conversation with Mr. Alexander?
Those kinds of conversations were something we began to have on a regular basis after I moved back. And that day, I can't remember if we were talking or chatting, but he said something kind of mean and I got offended, and then we got online and started chatting about it. And the conversation turned sexual again, and he wanted to get off the phone so that we could further the conversation. So I told him I needed a little bit of time to psych myself out of the bad mood, the sad mood I was in, because I didn't want to talk to him in that kind of mood. At least that wasn't the mood he wanted me to be in. So after that, we logged off, and I think I called him a little while later.
And the recording of the conversation, do you know how that came to exist?
Yes, when I got my Helio phone the day I moved out of Arizona. The phone that I had was a Motorola Razor, and I put it in the drink cup holder in the U-Haul truck, and I went to sleep inside the truck. And when I woke up in the morning, I realized that I set it in the bottom of the drink holder was a whole bunch of hot chocolate that had spilled the day before, and it basically soaked in hot chocolate all night, so my phone didn't work anymore. I met up with Gus Searcy somewhere in Southern California. He had a free phone deal, and he let me have the Helio. And I agreed to pay him for it, but I don't remember how that worked out. And so as I had this phone and figuring out the features, and then I realized we can record on it, and I told Travis, and we joked about recording it, and then we tried that, and a few times I failed at it because you have to hit a record button on the phone, and then if you hang up the phone at the end of the conversation before hitting save, then it doesn't save the conversation. So he liked, when we recorded things like that, he liked to play it back. And so the first few times I forgot to save it because it went all one long recording, and then I would hang up not thinking and lost the recording, and he would get upset. So throughout the conversation, I began to hit save, save, save so that I didn't forget, so at least even if I forgot at the last one, at least a portion of it previously was saved.
So you recorded it at his request?
Yes.
I want to ask you about some of what we heard on the tape. Early on, there was a discussion about Abe and a compliment he was making to you that was an insult to Travis that you should have corrected. What, do you know what that was a reference to?
Yes, that was when we were in Oklahoma City in March 2007, and that's when Abe said, "You deserve better," and he didn't mean it like in a way like you deserve me instead of him, just in a way that he thought I deserved better, to be treated better, and I took that as a compliment because that meant to me that that he saw me as enough value that I needed to be treated better, and I didn't say anything to change his mind or anything, and I wasn't even going to tell Travis until he demanded to know what we were talking about, and I wanted to be open, forthright in our relationship, so I told.
And by demanding to know, that was when he grabbed your arm by the elevators?
It wasn't by the elevator, it was outside the crowd, right at the edge of the crowd, but yes, that's where,
Okay.
that's when.
There was also, and just so we're clear, when we say Abe, we're talking about Abe Abdallah, right?
Abdel-Hadi.
Abdul-Hadi, excuse me. And Mr. Abdul-Hadi was also mentioned that Travis made a comment about he was going to kick Abe's ass in the bathroom. I gave a whip your A vibe to him,
Yes.
relating to kissing you. Can you explain to us what the backstory of that is?
Yes. When Abe and I went on a date in January 2007, prior to Travis, we were in Barnes & Noble and looking at books, and he said something, and I went to look at him, and he leaned in and kissed me, and I wasn't expecting that. I was kind of shy about it, even though he was nice, but it was nice, but it threw me off a little. So I pulled away, and I was shy, and we didn't kiss again. We went to dinner. I don't remember what else we did. Then he was walking me back to my car, and he began to kiss me more near my car. And after that, Travis had interrogated me about the dates that I had that day, because I went to lunch with John, then I went to dinner with Abe, and then I hung out with John afterward. And so I liked John a little bit more than Abe, but I was getting a platonic vibe from him. So when I described the dates to Travis, he said he picked up on that I liked John, but he asked me directly if either of them kissed me. And I said, well, Abe did in Barnes & Noble. And then I sort of trailed off, and I could tell by the tone of his voice after that he was not happy, so I never told him about the parking lot. And after, when I was getting ready to move to Wairika, we had a conversation in his bedroom a few days before I moved, and we kind of just came clean about some things that we were keeping from each other, and that was one of the things that I feel like I never told him that I should have.
You and Travis had a kind of a come clean conversation before you moved, right?
Yes. And so after he told me some things, and I told him those things, and he felt like I had lied to him from day one about our relationship, and that our entire relationship was based on lies, and that I was a fraud, and that the whole relationship was fraudulent because I never told him about that incident prior to us getting together. And he thought one thing about Abe, but then and then he's like, oh, but he was kissing more with you in the parking lot, and he was just mad about it.
When you told Travis this, was he violent with you?
Yes, he was that day.
What happened?
Well, he was already upset because I had given him a pamphlet earlier about the one that I talked about yesterday. And
Was this the same day, or is this a different?
same day,
Okay.
Same conversation pretty much. We had just moved on to other subject matter. And at that point, he just flipped his lid and he blew up, and he threw me on the ground and got on top of me and started choking me.
When you say he started choking you, were you conscious the entire time?
I was conscious for not long. He squeezed my neck, and I couldn't breathe, and everything turned gray really fast and then went black. And
Did you fear for your life that day?
it went so fast I didn't have time to think, oh my God, he's gonna kill me. I just could, the only thought I could think is I can't breathe. Like I didn't have any air. And before I really thought about it, I just started to get, like my arm, he was on top of my waist, but my arms were free, and I thought, trying to push him off, but he weighed over 200 pounds at that point. And I just remember my arms became like lead, and they just fell back on the carpet. And that's the last thing I remember until I woke up.
And when did this incident occur?
It was sometime in the first week of April 2008.
Is this after the incident you were telling us about yesterday where you said you realized you were one of those battered women that didn't speak up?
It was about 3 months after that.
Okay. There was also talk on this phone call about a drunk chick hanging on Travis. Is that the story you told us before?
Yes.
Okay. There was a lot of sexual activity discussed on this tape. Did all this sexual activity that was discussed, did that all take place before you moved back to Wairika?
The things we were talking about, yeah.
Yes.
Well, some things we were making future plans, but a lot of it was references to prior experiences.
So when you're talking about things you did, all those things happened before you moved back to Wairika, right?
Things we did, yes.
Yes. One of the things that was brought up is that Travis always grabs your ass to prove a point. Now, early in your testimony, you told us about an incident in a truck stop in Ehrenberg. Were there other instances where Travis grabbed your ass to prove a point?
Yeah, there were other instances.
Tell us about those.
Objection, lack of foundation, time, place, date.
Telling us, Judge.
He provides the foundation.
Okay. Once was right after the executive director banquet in Oklahoma City, 2007, that same weekend that we were just discussing. We were walking out of the banquet area, and we were walking down to the restrooms, and he grabbed my butt and said, and then leaned in.
Objection, hearsay.
Oh, okay.
Not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted.
Restate the question.
He grabbed your butt. For what purpose did he grab your ass, to your understanding?
My understanding was that he grabbed it because there was a guy named Mark standing nearby, and Mark had expressed an interest in me about 2 months earlier. He was also an associate. We never went on a date or anything, but there was an interest there.
So the point he was proving was that you belonged to him?
Objection, reading, speculation.
Sustained.
Did you believe that was the point he was proving?
Objection, reading, speculation. What's the question?
What did she believe? Did you believe, what was your belief as to why he was doing it?
Just that he was claiming me. That's usually the only time he ever claimed me in public, when there's another guy around or something.
I guess you weren't wearing the t-shirt, huh?
No.
Objection. Speculation, which t-shirt are we talking about?
I guess you weren't wearing the t-shirt that had Travis Alexander's apostrophe S on it, right?
No.
Probably weren't wearing the shorts that said Travis's with an exclamation, or excuse me, an apostrophe, right?
No, I never wore those in public.
There's no other reason, no other way for him to claim you as his property other than to grab your ass. Is that right?
Objection made. Speculation.
Sustained.
Did he prove this point of you being his on other occasions by grabbing your butt?
Yes.
Objection assumes that that was the point, and that was previously
We've already
objected to.
discussed that, Judge.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
Tell us about another occasion when he did that.
Well, there was the occasion in the truck stop restaurant. It was like a convenience store and a restaurant adjoining. I think it was in the convenience store more so near the registers. And there were a bunch of truck drivers in line, and he did that. And the other occasion was the one I referenced on the tape, which would have been in Las Vegas at the convention in 2007, where he did that again in front of Abe, the same guy we were talking about.
Okay. Was this a fairly persistent pattern with him? If he thought a guy might be interested, he would grab your butt?
Well, in public, he only did it around when he perceived other men to be watching us.
Okay. And the T-shirt he gave you, that was for the times when he wasn't around. Is that
Objection, speculation. The T-shirt.
is that what your belief was?
Overruled. You may answer.
No, it was a joke. He wanted me to wear it in public when we were in Huntington Beach. He wanted me to wear it into the lobby, and there were other associates there, but I refused because it was embarrassing. So I just wore it kind of as pajamas.
Okay. Another person was discussed in the tape, an individual by the name of Danny Jones. Who is, well, let me ask you this. Was Danny Jones a friend of yours or a friend of Travis's?
He was more an acquaintance of mine. I didn't really know him. We carpooled together from Gilbert to Las Vegas for one of the conventions in a huge, it was like a suburban-sized vehicle, and he was in the very back, and I rode shotgun, so we didn't really talk or get to know each other. So he was more a friend of Travis's.
Did Mr. Jones, referring to Danny Jones, did he ever express any kind of interest in dating you?
No.
In the tape, it sounded as if Travis was, at least from what he told you, interested in either visiting or spending a month down there with Mr. Jones in Argentina. Had he talked about that before?
No. He talked about going to Brazil a year prior, or a year and a half before that, but no, he never went to South America.
I want to ask you then about some of the sexual behavior that took place. It was discussed on this tape. It took place before you moved. There was a discussion. Well, let me ask you this. When you recorded this tape and you were living in Wairika in May of 2008, were you 12?
No.
Was this your first orgasm?
No.
There was talk about Mr. Alexander performing oral sex on you when you were asleep. You made a comment about cuddling You would have been content cuddling, but he had a different agenda. Do you remember that event?
Yes.
Where did that take place?
In his bedroom, there's an oversized chair next to his bed, and I had driven most of the night, and I was kind of tired. I was very tired, actually. I fell asleep on it.
Objection, the other scope of question.
Sorry.
Jodi, what happened after you fell asleep on his oversized chair?
I awoke to him pulling my pants off, and I was groggy, and then he was spreading my legs and starting to perform oral sex.
Was that something that you wanted?
I mean, it wasn't really discussed.
So you didn't say, hey, Travis, by the way, wake me up, pull my pants off, and have oral sex? Perform oral sex on me?
Mm-mm. No, I didn't.
You weren't awake when these events started, right?
No, I was awoken in the process, kind of, but no, I was definitely asleep.
Now, we've heard from you that Mr. Alexander had intercourse with you while you were asleep and now performed oral sex on you while you were asleep, or began to as you were just waking up. Did he perform did you wake up in the middle of Mr. Alexander performing any other sex acts on you?
Not that I recall.
Okay. There was discussion on this tape about Pop Rocks and Tootsie Pops. Could you explain to us what that means?
Yes, one night, I think it was on a Thursday, I was scheduled to go to my friend Lonnie's baptism. I think we had a lot of nights, but I think this was the night that he was getting baptized. And Travis asked if I wanted to come over, so I ditched the baptism and got ready to go over to his house instead. And he wanted me to dress up in a schoolgirl outfit with braids. I didn't have a schoolgirl outfit, so I looked through my closet to see if there was anything comparable. And
Let me stop you there. Was there a certain wardrobe that was desired for this schoolgirl outfit?
Yeah, like a private school girl.
Okay, but what do you mean? So if you could be specific, Jodi.
Well, we had discussed it briefly before, and so I don't know how specific I can be, just like a schoolgirl, maybe in a skirt with a blouse.
What else?
Knee-high stockings, Mary Jane shoes, that kind of thing.
What about underwear?
Sometimes no underwear, sometimes with the Spideys.
Sometimes what?
With the Spider-Man underwear.
So this schoolgirl outfit, you did this on more than one occasion?
I didn't have a schoolgirl outfit, so I just put something together that I thought he would like instead.
Okay. And how does this relate to Tootsie Pops and Pop Rocks?
He asked if I would go swing by and get those on the way over.
For what purpose, to your understanding?
I was actually, he wanted me to get a cock ring, and it was, I didn't know where there were any adult stores around. So he looked it up for me and said there was one in Apache Junction, which was near East Mesa. And I went there while he was at home. He refused to go there. He said too many people in the community might know him. And so I went in there, dressed up in my stupid outfit, looking for a cock ring, and came away empty. And while I was in the store, I called him and told him they didn't have any. And that's when he said, well, go ahead and go get some pop.
Objection, hearsay.
Sorry.
Listening.
After you were not able to obtain the cock ring, sounds like you were then instructed to go get Tootsie Pops and Pop Rocks?
Yes.
And at that time, what was your understanding of the purpose of obtaining these items?
I didn't know what he intended them for, but I imagined it was some kind of idea or play or something he would incorporate into what we were going to do.
Okay. So did you obtain these items?
Yes, I went to Walgreens in East Mesa, and I didn't want to go in. I felt dressed really inappropriately. So I left Walgreens and I went over to Walmart, this other Walmart that I never go to, and I went in there and got that. And I think I bought some bubble bath and the Tootsie Pops and the Pop Rocks.
And when you say you went in there in that outfit, you were talking about the schoolgirl outfit or the outfit that you could best put together from that request, right?
Yes.
Did you have a coat or anything to put on over it to cover yourself up?
Yes, I wore a black jacket.
Okay. So once you have the Tootsie Pops and the Pop Rocks and the Bubble Bath, where do you go?
After I pay and leave and go to Walmart, leave from Walmart, I go to Travis's house.
Okay. And just describe for us what happens when you arrive.
I'm trying to not confuse the incidences because there were a few times that we did things like this. So, by this point, I go into the house. We had taken a bath before, but there were no bubbles, and this time there were bubbles. And we had sex in the bathtub and then again on his bed with the candy.
Okay. You mentioned you and Mr. Alexander took a bath together with the bubble bath you purchased, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have sexual relations in the bathtub?
Yes.
And what sort of sexual relations did you have?
That was one time we had vaginal sex. We actually did twice in the bathtub.
And why was it okay to have that in the bathtub?
Well, it wasn't okay, but he said it was okay.
Objection, hearsay.
Goes to effect to the listener, Judge. Why did he say this kind of sex was okay?
I didn't think it was serious. He said it's underwater, so it doesn't count. I
Okay,
assumed he was
hang
a
on.
joke.
You mentioned then you had sexual intercourse twice in the bathtub, vaginal intercourse, right?
Yes, prior to us actually just going all the way, like, to heck with it, let's just, sleep together.
Prior to what?
Prior to it, just, we kind of reached a point during our relationship that we just began sleeping together without any boundaries or limitations.
Okay. You mentioned that the Tootsie Pops and the Pop Rocks were involved in this session. How so?
He wanted me to put Pop Rocks in my mouth while I gave him oral sex.
And did you do that?
Yes.
And the Tootsie Pops, what did they turn out to be needed for?
He wanted to put the Tootsie Pop inside of me. Just spend time down there doing that, I guess you could say.
What do you mean inside of you?
Inside my vagina.
And you allowed him to do that?
Yes.
This bath, you mentioned a couple, you talked about taking a bath with him and feeling like a goddess. You talked about that on the tape. Was this the occasion you're referring to, or was there another time that you took a bath with him?
That was the time prior to that.
Okay. And when was that, relatively speaking?
I believe it was sometime in the fall or winter of 2007.
And what did he do to make you feel like a goddess, as you described?
I came over to his house. It was kind of late, so the roommates weren't out and about. They were in their bedrooms. And he told me to meet him in the bedroom. And when I walked into the room, he had a light, kind of a decorative lamp on the side of his, on one of the nightstands. And it was like the shape of a candle, or a cluster of candles, but it was actually, it was like a fountain. So if you pour water in it and turn it on, it bubbles over the candle and goes in the other candle, and the candle recycles the water. I think there are pebbles and things around it. So he had that on, and it had a soft glow. He had hurricane candles lit on the dresser. He had a CD playing low on the other nightstand. And then his bathroom, where there's a long hallway, he had the hallway lined up, was lit up, kind of like a runway with hurricane candles on each side all the way down. And he had red rose petals kind of just scattered throughout down the hallway all the way to the bathtub. And the bathtub was full of hot water, and there was steam coming off of it, and there were no bubbles in that one. But there were candles in the corners of the bathtub also.
Sounds like, did you perceive this as romantic?
Yes,
Okay.
very.
Did that evening remain romantic?
Yes.
Did that romance include sexual intercourse?
Yes.
How is it different than the other occasion? What distinguished one evening as being feeling like a goddess and the bath that you were just talking about?
That was the same evening, like when I made that comment
No, the
about.
bath you were talking about with the Tootsie Pops.
Oh, it was the Tootsie Pops and the Pop Rocks were more playful and experimental, and the other was a lot more romantic.
And you preferred the latter?
If I had a choice, yes, but I would have gone with either.
What do you mean if you had a choice? Didn't you?
Well, yeah, but usually I just kind of, I didn't set the theme. He set the theme, and I was a willing participant.
A comment was also made about braids. Braids were hot, was something that was said on the tape. You alluded to a schoolgirl outfit, and early in your testimony you talked about Mr. Alexander having an interest in younger women. Was the braids a part of this interest, or what was your understanding about the braids, or describe that for us?
The braids were, at that time I still had blonde hair, and he called me Pollyanna with the braids, that kind of thing. So yeah, I believe it was to make me appear a little bit younger.
He liked you to look a little younger?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did he ever ask you to act a little younger?
Yeah, one time.
Tell us about that time.
Objection, foundation.
Sustained.
Your Honor, she hasn't even begun to describe the incident. There's no proper objection.
Make sure that she describes the place and the time.
Tell us about this incident. Where did it take place?
In his bedroom.
Do you remember when?
It would have been sometime I don't remember if it was the fall or in 2008, but it was prior to when I walked in on him. I remember that.
Prior to when you walked in on him,
Mm-hmm.
in January of 2008, right?
Yes.
Okay. What did he want you to do?
Well, I knew I was coming over there to hang out with him, which probably would lead to sex. And I came into his bedroom, and he had some toys out on the floor. We didn't do anything with them, but I think he had ideas for it. I don't really know. I looked at him kind of funny, and he dropped it.
And what's that?
He dropped it.
Dropped what?
Whatever ideas he had about it.
But you said he wanted you to act younger. There must have been something in that regard.
It was a little train car. It wasn't a whole train or anything. It was just a little, I think it was a red caboose or something.
Did he want you to play with it?
I mean, I thought he was going to do something with it. We had already incorporated candy and massage oil and all kinds of things like that. So I wondered what he had in mind with that. And I don't think he wasn't very vocal about it. He just kind of almost like a massage, but.
But sexual?
Yeah, I was there, and he wanted me to be in the braids that time, and I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Is this embarrassing to talk about?
Yes, extremely.
When you say you don't know it, what else happened? You know what happened.
We ended up having sex, anal sex.
Were you wearing the boys' underwear?
Yes, that time I was.
And you were playing with these toys?
I don't know that I could really say playing, but kind of like adult play, I guess you could say.
When you told us earlier that you were of the understanding that Mr. Alexander liked younger women, you mentioned the braids and the schoolgirl outfit. Is there anything else he requested of you that made you believe that?
There were things I learned about him that made me believe that, but
Well, how about things he requested of you? Did he request you do anything else to make yourself look younger?
braids, schoolgirl outfit, Spidey's. I don't remember.
There was a lot of talk on this tape about photo shoots and pornography and the porn star thing and pictures of you with semen on your face, making quote-unquote legitimate porn. Based on those, it brings up the question, did you and Travis ever videotape yourself while having sex?
Yes.
And at whose desire was for that to take place?
That is.
And these videos, how were they made?
On a digital camera. It was only one video. It wasn't plural.
What's that?
There was just one video.
One video. And when was that video made?
On June 4th, 2008.
But it sounds to me like, so all this talk beforehand in May, you're saying that before June of 2008, there was no recording or pictures or things of that nature. Is that what you're telling us?
No, I'm only telling you that there was no video.
Okay. So we saw the pictures that were taken of you on June 4th of 2008. Did he take other pictures of you?
Yes.
And when did he do this? Was this a consistent thing that happened on a lot of sexual encounters?
No, it's something I had to, I guess, build up the courage to do. I hadn't done that with previous boyfriends, except one photo that Daryl snapped one time with my phone, and it was deleted. And ironically, the thing I was afraid of is that it would get out, and so I didn't want to do it. And so
What do you mean get out?
he wanted me to email him some pictures, or maybe phone pictures, send him. And he began requesting this very early in our friendship/relationship in 2006, and I refused.
Is that the time of on November 11, 2006, when he sent you the picture of his penis? Is that when he began requesting those pictures?
No, it was prior to that.
Okay. So he's asking for a year and a half, 2 years. When do you finally relent?
I let him take pictures of me in July 2007, but they weren't completely nude. My birthday is in July, and so is his. So right before I moved down there, I flew from Oakland to Phoenix just to test the water and kind of see how things work. We had broken up, and I spent the weekend with him, and he was like the old Travis, like very charming and very loving. And sorry.
How was he acting?
He was treating me very well, almost like he was trying to court me again, and which I believed he was. And it kind of sealed the deal, like, for me.
Again, beyond question.
Did his behavior motivate you? Did he talk you into taking the pictures? Did he charm you into it?
He had to do a lot of coaxing and begging and pleading up to that entire point for all those months. So he bought me some lingerie from Victoria's Secret. as a birthday gift, and he joked that it was his selfish birthday gift to me. And so when I tried it on, he wanted to take photos, and I let him.
He what?
I let him.
After all this kindness, you relent, you take pictures. What's he take pictures of?
My body.
Well, are they more similar to the pictures of you laying on the bed, or are they more similar to the pictures where he seemingly has the camera a couple inches from your vagina?
I would say somewhere in between that. He just got different angles up close. But I was wearing lingerie.
Okay. And part of the agreement was to be that these were to be deleted, is that what we're hearing?
Yeah, I told him we can do it only if we delete them after. It was my camera anyway, so they were going to get deleted regardless. But that's how he got me to do it. So we agreed to delete them.
Once you agreed to these initial pictures that happened in July, was that the only time that happened besides June 4th?
No, he wanted to take a few pictures of me while we were at Havasu Pie, and we were alone.
Did you relent to that?
Yes, he had been asking for over a year, since I didn't want to concede to give.
Objection, Dale's
Sorry.
It's improper objection, Judge.
Asking you a question.
Did you wind up taking photographs? Did you wind up allowing Mr. Alexander to take photographs of you, nude photographs at Havasu Pie?
No, they weren't nude. They were in my bikini.
Were you wearing all your bikini?
Yes.
Were those to be deleted, or were those for him to keep?
I wouldn't have let him keep them at that point.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I don't know if they were deleted. Because I think I saved a couple that were normal, like just one of me standing there, and some of us as in a group shot. But the ones he took were a little bit more up close, like cleavage and that kind of thing. So those were deleted.
Okay. Over the course of your relationship, then, were there several of these photo sessions where he would take nude photographs of you and delete them?
Well, I don't know what you mean by several. Do you mean a lot or a little?
Well, how many would you say that there were?
With the lingerie and the bikini and June 4th, I think there were maybe 2 other times.
Okay. Besides those times?
Yes.
There was talk in that tape about taking pictures of you with semen on your face. Did he ever do that?
He never took photos of it. That was something we were planning.
Okay. There was also reference in this tape to Ehrenberg. Early in your testimony, you had told us about a trip you made to Ehrenberg with Travis. Refresh our memory, when was that?
It would have been in October 2006.
Was that the only trip you made to Ehrenberg?
For that.
with Travis?
Yes. Yes.
And this was the kind of weekend trip that you discussed earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned on the tape about grinding in Ehrenberg. Is that what took place, apart from oral sex?
Yes.
It also sounds like from the tape, it would be someone, listening to the tape, someone would walk away with the impression that he was also proselytizing to you about the Book of Mormon on this trip to Ehrenberg. Is that correct?
I would say so. We discussed some things about it and some of the doctrines, a few stories in the Book of Mormon.
So this weekend in Ehrenberg includes oral sex, grinding, grabbing your buttocks at a truck stop, and proselytizing about the Book of Mormon. And a movie.
Objection asked and answered.
And a movie, right? Is that the weekend?
Yes, and dinner at Sizzler.
Dinner at Sizzler, I'm burning some CDs. There was also some talk on the tape about introducing Travis to KY. Do you recall hearing that?
Yes.
So we're clear to your understanding, what is KY?
KY is a personal lubricant.
And did you in fact introduce Travis to it?
Yes, I did.
Why?
He refused to buy, well, he was using Astroglide before that with Esther, and she brought that over. He ran out of it eventually and then just went back to Vaseline because he refused to be seen in public buying personal lubricant. So I brought KY over one time, and yeah.
And what?
Well, on the tape I was about to say that Daryl introduced it to me, but I didn't want to bring up an ex-boyfriend, because before that I did mention that I was using baby oil. That's what I used in prior relationships, because I just never thought of using KY. And so when I began to date Daryl, that's what we used, and so that's what I was familiar with. He was only familiar with the Vaseline and the Astroglide, but Astroglide I think was more expensive, or the kind that I saw on the shelf. So rather than buy that, I just went with the brand that I knew and the cheapest version of it.
Okay. What was the KY used for?
For sex,
Anal sex?
all kinds of sex,
All
probably
kinds of
except
sex.
oral.
There was also some discussion about Mr. Alexander, and I'm paraphrasing here, tying you to a tree and putting it in your ass all the way. What was that a reference to your understanding?
Objection, lack of foundation. Is he talking about the time when she said she liked it?
Rephrase the question.
On this tape, you talk about, Mr. Alexander talks about how he wants to zip tie you to a tree and put it in your ass deep, right?
Remember that?
Yes,
There's no mistake in what we're talking about here, right?
yes. No,
Okay.
there's no mistake.
What was that a reference to?
That was a reference to a photo shoot that he wanted to do out in the woods somewhere. And he had a fantasy that he had had for quite some time since before I met him, where he wanted to.
Objection, lack of foundation, comment.
She's describing it, Your Honor,
Judge,
please.
the way it works is I make the objection and you rule.
Yes.
Go.
Follow up with another question. Sustained.
He wanted to do a photo shoot of what?
He wanted me to dress up like Little Red Riding Hood.
And you said this was to take place in the woods. Where?
Well, he wanted me to find a spot because he was coming up to Wairika. There is a lot of forest up there. So there are trails and things near a park called Greenhorn. It's toward the southern end of town, and it goes into the woods quite a ways. And I figured if we went early in the morning or late at night, we could find a spot there and we wouldn't have to worry about any hikers or anybody coming upon us, because that would have been mortifying.
Were you tentative about having sex in public?
Very much, yes.
You also made the comment in reference to this incident that it's so debasing, I like it. You recall saying that or hearing yourself say that?
Yes, I do.
What did you mean by that?
Well, when he said tie you to a tree and put it in your ass, the first image that flew to mind was this scene from the movie Me, Myself, and Irene, where toward the end there's some kind of antagonist or bad guy or some guy in the movie where he is tied to a tree with his arms around the tree and his pants are pulled down, and a chicken or a duck or a goose or something, his beak and head are shoved up his butt, and it was a really awful scene in the movie. It's supposed to be funny, but it was disgusting to me. So when he said that, and I could only think that, man, not that that really happened, it was just a movie, but I thought, how degrading. And so I said that, and then as I said, it's so degrading, I didn't want him to feel bad for expressing himself and his fantasies. So I quickly added, I like it, just so he didn't feel like I was insulting his personal fantasies.
Pleasing him was still important to you, even in May of 2008 after you'd moved back home?
Yes.
Is this why you made many a comment to him, complimentary? Is this why you complimented his stamina?
Objection made.
Overruled. Let me answer.
Yes, Travis thrived on compliments.
Is this why you called him superhuman?
Yes.
Is this why you were so complimentary of his genitalia?
Yes.
The orgasms, or the sounds you made on the tape that might be normally associated with orgasms, were those real orgasms or did you fake it?
I was faking them.
Why?
Well, I was on the phone. Sorry, it's kind of embarrassing.
It's okay, take your time.
I was faking them because, well, there's several reasons. One, I wanted him to be, well, he was turned on by it, so I wanted him to be turned on. I wanted him to like it. And also I was faking it because I can't, well, when I'm on the phone, when I do something like that, like masturbating requires both hands, so I couldn't use just one and actually reach that point. So I just faked it so that he could, like, he was very mean to me during some of this period of time at times, and when he wanted phone sex or something like that, he was really nice, and I liked that side of him. So I wanted to prolong it, and I guess you could say draw it out or enjoy it while it lasted, because he would turn into Mr. Hyde soon, or whatever the analogy is. So those things were pleasing to him.
Okay. This begs the question, Jodi. Why, at this point in time, May of 2008, you moved back, why were you still craving or so desirous of positive attention from Mr. Alexander?
When he was nice to me, it reminded me, he made me feel better. I liked the way I felt when he was nice to me. It made me feel good, so I sought those things, and when he was mean, it didn't make me feel good. So that's why I preferred one over the other.
Well, why any contact at all?
I'm sorry?
Why any contact at all? Why talk to him?
Well, he pawned his car off on me, so I had to pay him for that. There was still that connection that we had.
We'll get back to a little bit, because obviously you weren't discussing the car on this phone call we just heard.
That's true.
And you also mentioned even earlier that night you were having chats with him over the internet, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember what day you moved back?
I don't recall the specific day, but it was in the first half of April,
Okay.
2008.
Well, let's back up a little bit then. Back up to the time, what you were telling us when we ended yesterday. You had said that after this incident where you were kicked in the ribs and then kicked in the hand and suffered the injury that you showed us on your finger, you realized, you told us you were one of them. And if I understood you correctly, that was a reference to a battered woman, one of these women that don't call the police when their boyfriend abuses them, right?
Yeah, women that just put up with it.
Now, at this point in time, you had told us about 3 incidents. You said when you came to this realization, there were 3 incidents. 1, he grabs your wrist in Oklahoma City out of jealousy. 2, he throws you down, won't let you leave the room, and insults your family. The 3rd incident being the one I just referred to, the kicking. And you also talked to us today about this incident when he choked you to the point that you passed out. Are there any other instances of physical abuse that we haven't already talked about?
Yes, there's one other, but I didn't consider the first two that you mentioned abusive.
Okay, well, let's talk about, not what you consider, but let's talk about this other incident where he was, let's use the words physical with you. Was there another occasion that we haven't talked about that he was physical with you?
Yes.
When did that occur?
It would have been the beginning of March 2008. It was on a Saturday because we were driving together to a tax seminar being held for prepaid legal associates in Tempe. And we were on the freeway and we began to argue about, I was moving back to California, and it was something I had told him I was considering maybe a few days or a week prior, but I didn't really get into it. So I told him that I was for sure going to move, probably right after convention. And he made a few comments and we argued, and the argument escalated, and then he reached his right hand over to hit me.
In the car while driving?
Yes.
And you say hit you. What does that mean? Did he punch you? Did he slap you? Describe what happened.
I don't know if he just meant to smack me or what, but it was like a backhand.
Okay. And so we're clear, prior to June 4th, was that the last time he was physically violent with you?
That wasn't the last because the choking came after that.
Okay.
That was the last.
So prior to June 4th, have we discussed all the incidents of violence that you suffered before June 4th?
Well, yes, some I didn't think were violent, but
What do you mean, some you didn't think were very violent?
like he'd grab my wrist, I didn't think that was violent. It was a little forceful, but I didn't consider it violent or abusive. And after a few seconds of him demanding to know what we were talking about, I looked down at my wrist and he let it go.
Okay. But I want to make sure we're clear. Are there any other incidents where you didn't consider them abusive, where he was physically with you, restrained you, anything of that nature, hurt you physically in any way?
I didn't consider the incident when we were arguing in his bedroom to be abusive, or it was a little bit physical, but it didn't hurt, and I didn't consider it abusive. He pushed me and I fell, but I landed right on my knees, so I didn't think that was a big deal.
Okay. My question is, are there any other incidents where he was physical with you that we haven't talked
Oh,
about?
I'm sorry. No, not that I can remember.
Okay. You tell Travis that you're going to move back to Wairika, or California, excuse me, and I'm assuming you're meaning back to Wairika, back to your grandparents' house where you wound up, right?
Yes.
Okay. After he backhands you in the car, what happens next?
I was crying pretty hysterically, and I called my mom from the car on my phone. And I asked her if she would please lend me some money so I could move back.
Where were you living at the time?
I was still renting the same room in East Mesa.
Okay. And from what you just said, you didn't have the money to move back, right?
No, I was broke most of the time.
Why were you broke?
I mean, I didn't have a big rent to pay. I wasn't able to afford my car payments anymore, so I wasn't paying my car anymore. I guess my money it seemed to just get used up. We were going on trips. I would lend Travis money. He typically paid me back. Sometimes I didn't have...
You say you lent Travis money. Let's be clear. How much money did you lend Travis?
Objection, foundation, time, which time?
I'm asking a total amount, and we'll discuss the time.
All right, overall, to answer the question.
Total, if I did my math right, I lent him $1,299 total, $1,299 over
And
the
when
course
did
of our relationship.
Over the course of your relationship. Did you lend him any money in 2008?
Yes,
Lend him any money in January 2008?
yes.
May I approach, Your Honor? Jodi, I want to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 436. Could you take a look at these, please? Do you recognize those?
Yes,
What are they?
they're canceled checks that I wrote out to Travis.
And the first check, when was that written?
January 11th, 2008.
The second?
January 15th, 2008.
And the third?
January 30th, 2008.
How much was the first check for?
$100.
Objection, she's testifying as to a document, not evidence. I have no objection if they move it into evidence, but
And we'll move it into evidence.
Any objection?
no.
436 is admitted.
Before we have it marked, Jodi, how much was the first check for?
$100.
And what was why did you give Travis $100? Or why did you write him a check for $100?
I don't remember specifically what he needed it for, but it had to go in his bank account, his
Okay.
checking account.
And the second check?
$699.
And what was that for?
His checking account was going to be overdrawn or was already overdrawn. I don't remember which.
Okay. And the third check?
$220.
Okay, and do you remember what that was for?
I think it was to put toward his mortgage.
Okay. Now these checks, Jodi, you mentioned talking to him about, or needing to talk to him afterwards about his BMW. But this check number 3008, that didn't have anything to do with the purchase of his BMW?
No, he hadn't discussed selling it yet.
And likewise, check number 3009 to Travis for $699. That also had nothing to do with the BMW?
No.
And the final check, 3012, for $220, that also didn't have anything to do with the BMW, is that correct?
No, he wasn't selling it to me yet at that time.
So, if I'm doing my math right, Looks like you gave Travis over $900 in January 2008. Is that right?
About that, yes.
Did you really have that kind of extra money to give, to lend?
At times, the money was in my account, but it was generally allocated to my own bills.
This money that was generally allocated to your own bills, why did you give it to Travis? Or lend it to Travis?
He needed it.
Didn't you need it?
He promised he would pay it back before any other checks cleared my account or before I needed to make payments to for my own bills.
Did that always happen?
What?
Did he pay you back before you needed to pay your own bills?
Not always, but usually.
Did you have checks bounce because of this?
Yes, I had a lot of checks bounced that month. A lot of fees.
Did Travis pay those fees for you?
No, he screamed at me for incurring them.
Did he pay the $900-something back to you?
Eventually he did, yes.
Eventually meaning, do you know how much later? Months?
It
weeks?
wasn't too much later. One payment was late to the point that I got a bunch of fees that hit my account that I wasn't overdraft fees. And that was the only time it was late, I think, that I remember.
Did your bills go unpaid?
I don't remember if Washington Mutual covered the bill and just charged me a fee, expecting me to put money back in my account, or if there were payments that were returned to the people or companies or creditors or whoever I was paying.
Okay. Now, we saw those checks in January when you had no money to move back to Wairika. Did Travis owe you money then?
I don't recall. It was in early March, so I don't recall if I lent him money around that time or not.
Okay. But you lent him money on a consistent basis, is that fair to say?
Yes.
So after you call your mother and ask for money to move back to Wairika, what happens?
We turned around on one of the exits because I was crying and he was angry, and we decided it would be best to not attend the tax seminar. People there knew us, and he was probably just as interested as I was in not letting it be known that we had the kind of drama that we did in our relationship. So he turned the car around and drove me back to my house. The phone conversation with my mom had ended, and he pulled up to my house, and we had talked part of the rest of the way a little more calmly. He was apologizing, and he asked if I would come over to his house so we could make it better. And
What do you mean, make it better?
well, it wasn't really discussed, but the implication was make-up sex or something to that effect. So I leaned in to give him a kiss on his cheek, and he turned and kissed me on the lips, which I felt was very affectionate because by this point in our relationship, he wasn't really kissing me on the lips at all. And then he walked me to my door, and he told me that he loved me. And so I changed out of the business clothes that I was wearing into just more casual clothes, and I cleaned myself up a little bit because I had been crying. And then I swung by Starbucks to get him a cookies and cream frappuccino, and I think I got a strawberry. And then I drove to his house and we hung out.
So he hits you in the face. Then if I heard you right, in the car later when he's at the home, he tells you he loves you, right? Did I hear that right?
Yes.
And
I'm sorry, he didn't hit me in the face.
you said he slapped you in the car. while
He
you were
did.
driving.
He
Yeah.
did. But it wasn't in the face.
Okay,
Sorry.
where was it?
I don't know, he might have been aiming for my face because it was just to the side, but I turned my head and it was kind of more like my jaw and like this area, my neck sort of in my jaw.
Okay.
We kind of argued about that too.
So after dodging a slap to the face, and he tells you he loves you and wants make-up sex, not so many words, and then you bring him, you go over to his house with items from Starbucks. Is that accurate?
Yes, 2 Frappuccinos.
Okay, 2 Frappuccinos. And you've already decided you want to move back home, right?
Yes.
Why did you decide at this point in time, before we go into what happened afterwards, why do you pick up the phone to call your mother to move back to Wairika? Why do you want to move back to Wairika?
So we're in the beginning of March and I decided actually during Christmas that I wanted to move back there because I was there with my family. I was broke, so my mom paid for me to fly back for Christmas. I flew into Sacramento, my dad picked me up, and I'm sorry.
No, she's describing why.
Ask another question.
What was the motivation or the sudden urgency for you to pick up the phone in March and say, Mom, I want to move back home?
Because it was miserable in the car, and my mom and I don't have a very great relationship, but it just sounded, I knew she would help me if I needed help.
Why did you want to get out of Mesa so quickly?
I didn't have a way to get out, and it was miserable. I wanted to leave, but it wasn't right away.
What was miserable, Jodi? What was miserable?
My relationship, my circumstances, how things were going.
Your relationship with Travis?
Yes.
The circumstances being how he treated you?
Yes, the roller coaster we were always on.
What do you mean by roller coaster?
The ups and downs. The ups were great and the downs were horrible, and it was a point where it was a horrible point, and so that's why I picked up the phone and called her.
So you had considered it earlier for personal reasons, but that day in the car, you realized you wanted to get away from Travis. Is that right? It wasn't healthy for you to be with him.
Objection, comment, question, which one do you want her to answer?
Overruled, you may answer.
Yes, both.
So, what happens after you speak with your mother?
You mean while we're speaking or after we hung up?
Well, after you hung up, do you decide you're going to move back to Wairika?
Yes. Well, I had already decided, but
Okay.
we had discussed it openly at this point. That's how the fight escalated.
Okay. It was my fault. Were plans in the works after you talked to your mom to secure the funds to have you move back to Wairika?
Yes. I asked her to come help me move.
Okay. What's that?
I asked her to come help me move.
Okay. Moving back to these circumstances and what happened in the car, Why then do you return to Travis's house with the 2 Frappuccinos? Because you've just told us you realize you want to get away from this man. Why are you at his house with 2 Frappuccinos?
Because it's complicated. I still loved him. He was a lot more, he had calmed down. He was very tender and gentle by the time we reached my house, and the way we parted was very sentimental. And that's why he invited me over, and I could foresee that it would be a pleasant time that we could spend together. And I wanted that since we had just had such an unpleasant incident.
Did you still love him at this point in time?
Yes, I loved him.
Even though he hit you?
Yes.
Okay. So you have the 2 Frappuccinos. You're in Mr. Alexander's house. What happens? Do you have sex?
We did have sex that day.
Do you advise him that you're still going to move away?
We didn't talk about it.
How long did you stay at Mr. Alexander's house that day?
We spent almost the rest of the afternoon and early evening together.
When did you finally tell him that you were going to move back?
In the car. Well, we had discussed it a few days earlier, or maybe a week, I can't remember. It was sometime in late February. And I discussed with him that I was going to, but it just was indefinite. Like I didn't know when exactly, but it was somewhere on the horizon. And then in the car, it was more definite.
Okay. And I should have been more clear in my question. Was there continued discussion between you and Mr. Alexander as to whether or not you should stay in Mesa?
In the car there was. And there were a few times he joked about it. And, in a nice way.
In a nice way?
Yes.
In these, what you're characterizing as jokes, did he want you to stay?
Yes.
About how long was it before the day where he hit you in the car until the day you actually moved back to Wairika?
Approximately a month and a week.
Okay. And so in this, we'll call it about a 5-week period, are you still seeing Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Is it business as usual, so to speak? You're still coming to his house late at night for sexual rendezvous?
Yes.
I have to ask again, why? You decided you want to get away from this man. You're making plans to get away from this man. Why are you still acting as his booty call?
I was making a string of bad choices during that time in my life.
You spoke about that you were still living in this home in East Mesa. Did you live there the entire time before you moved back to Wairika?
The majority of the time, I moved in with Rachel first, and then she eloped with her boyfriend/fiance.
Okay. Did you stay with Travis before you moved back?
Oh yeah, I did. The last 4 days, or maybe it was somewhere between a week or almost that. Not quite.
Did he have roommates at that time?
Yes,
Did the roommates know you were staying there?
I think they did. I parked right in the driveway.
Okay. Where were you sleeping?
In his bed.
Okay. Do you remember the actual day you moved?
I remember the actual, well, there was one time I pulled out of town, well, not out of town, but onto the freeway, and then I ended up coming back to his house and staying another night, maybe 2 nights, and then the last time I rolled out of town, finally, I remember that day.
Okay. Well, as it relates to the day that you started driving out of town and drove back to Travis's house, why did you wind up driving back to Travis's house?
I had been staying with him, and then I went and hooked up my car to a U-Haul. I was taking my car. So then I had it parked. There's like if you go 3 or 4 houses down, or 2 or 3 more houses down, and then you make I'm talking like facing east, and then you turn north, there's this stretch of pavement and street where there are no houses, just the cinder block walls for backyards. And you can complete the whole block, but in that stretch, I parked the U-Haul there because it was too big at that point to park in front of the house. And as I was getting ready to leave, he made a joke kind of saying, if you get tired, you can always turn around and come back and stay in my bed again. Or it wasn't stay in my bed, that was the implication. And so I got on the road, and I got to, I think, Sossaman, I think is the name of the street. It was late when I got on the road. I wanted to get going, but when I get tired at the wheel, I'm almost narcoleptic. So I pulled over to sleep in the seat of the U-Haul. I texted Travis and told him that. He sounded a little bit irritated. So we began, I don't know if I talked to him or called him or texted him back, but I ended up coming back to his house anyway, and I stayed there 2 more days.
Okay. Why 2 more days?
I'm trying to remember if there was I don't know. I know there was a prepaid legal event on the Tuesday that I ended up staying and going to.
You mentioned the U-Haul having your car on the back of it. What was your car at that time?
2004 Infiniti G35 Coupe.
Okay. We also heard from the testimony earlier in this case about the U-Haul and the BMW, and the BMW not surviving its experience on the U-Haul. And earlier you also said he pawned off his BMW on you. What do you mean by that? What was going on with the BMW at that point in time?
What I mean by that was around January, I knew that I needed to give my car back to Infiniti Financial, which was the lender, and I couldn't afford the payments anymore. And because I had gone from excellent credit down to having a foreclosure and now soon a repo, and all my credit cards were shot, my credit was shot. So Travis was in the process of looking for a Toyota Prius, and he wanted to unload his BMW, but he said he could get more by selling it private party than trading it in. So he didn't want to go through the process of selling it to somebody and worrying about collecting payment and that sort of thing. And so I was going to, there was a guy at my newest cafe that I worked with that wanted to buy it, and he offered him all cash for $4,500, and Travis scoffed at that and said that's not nearly enough. He wanted to sell it for, I think it was $6,000. So he proposed that I buy it because I had to give my car back. He said, your credit's horrible right now. No one is going to lend you a dime. Why don't you drive it? And you can pay me. And he gave me very easy terms to pay him. And I had seen that car break down on him at least 3 times in the time I'd known him, so I was a little bit leery of getting that car. It didn't have a warranty, and one of the reasons I bought the Infiniti was so that I didn't have to worry about my car breaking down. So I was reluctant, but his idea at the time made sense to me because I did have to give my car back, so I agreed to do that. And I drove that car out to the U-Haul Center, which was in Apache Junction, and I bought a tow dolly that has the back wheels on the pavement and the front hiked up, and it was attached to my U-Haul truck. And when I drove there, they had the dolly hooked up and instructed me to drive up onto the dolly. So I did that, and I shut off the car, and the U-Haul guy checked it out for me. He took the keys out of the ignition for me and everything, and then he shut it, and I asked him if he would please lock it. He locked it. And then I took off on the road. It was somewhat near the freeway, and as I was hitting the freeway, I tried to speed up, but it seemed like there was a lot of drag on the vehicle, and it wouldn't really go, even though it was flooring it. And there were some cars driving by honking, and I didn't know if they were honking at me, but as that continued, I wondered what was going on, and I looked out the side view mirrors, and I didn't see anything different or strange. But they continued, more vehicles continued to do that, and they were passing me because I wasn't going fast enough. I was trying to go faster, but it wouldn't speed up. And then I looked again in the side view mirrors, and I noticed a ton of white smoke coming out the back on both sides of the U-Haul truck from behind it. And so I knew that wasn't a good sign. So I pulled off the exit, the next exit that I came upon. I think I was still in Apache Junction. And I didn't want to take it any further because it looked like it was bad. So I pulled off the exit on the exit ramp, on the shoulder of the exit ramp, and I got out to see what was going on with the car.
And ultimately, what did you learn happened to the car? Did it suffer any damage?
Yes, the car was left in first gear, and I towed it that way, and it was either the engine or the transmission blew up, and there was black oil all over this white pavement, which was the exit ramp, and it was just going everywhere.
Okay.
And there were pieces of metal on the pavement.
And was this on the day that you were, the day that you left and came back, or was this on the day that you ultimately left for good?
Neither. That was right before. It was like in the same week period, but it was neither of those days.
Okay. Was it before those days then?
Yes.
Okay. So, was this BMW, was his or yours that you were in the midst of purchasing? Was it drivable? Was it functional?
No, it was completely ruined. At least the mechanics of it were.
Did you fear telling Travis what happened?
Yes, was very, very worried about that.
What were you worried that he would do?
Well, he had been, we were like in, I guess you could call it like this period where he was being very sweet, very kind, very loving. I was staying at his house for a couple of nights. I was out of my house, and I was afraid of ruining that and pissing him off and having him explode again. And this time, I knew it was completely my fault, or maybe U-Haul's fault. We didn't really determine. But basically, I was the reason his engine blew up. And he had just told me 2 days earlier, I was loading up the truck, and my houseplants were at his house for the entire time that I lived there, because my house, the one I was renting, didn't have a lot of counter space. His did. So my houseplants lived at his house while I was there in Mesa. And so I collected those, put them in the front seat in a box with a seatbelt around it, so if I hit the brakes, they wouldn't go flying. And I left them in the car one night, and this is April. I went to Travis's house, slept in, didn't get back he drove me back to my house where the U-Haul truck was parked on that day. And I opened the front door and saw they were all wilted brown. I was really bummed because I'd had them for years since I owned my house in Palm Desert. And they were important to me. And so they were all turned brown, and Travis got really pissed off at that. He liked my plants too and was upset that I was taking them back. And then he told me everything I touch turns to shit. So then 2 days later, or a day or 3, I don't remember how many days, but it was the same week after this point, I blew up the engine in his car, so I thought he was really gonna lose it then.
What do you mean by lose it? Become physically violent with you?
Maybe that, or just his general wrath. That was usually worse anyway.
What's that?
Either way, like, I feared him screaming and yelling at me, because to me, that felt worse.
And tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock tomorrow. Please remember the admonition. You are excused. Have a nice evening. Please be seated. You may step down. Anything else, council, for today?
No, you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
All rise.